What's good, beloved? The second segment of what I was talking about as far as like the Queen of Heaven and mother-child worship. And like I said before, we can see if we really pay attention to the details of mother god worship and goddess worship, and even the arrival of the false Christ and false messiahs, or false messiahs that even derive from this type of paganistic worship. We can find elements, if not the whole element, of some of these rituals done in what we call today as Christianity. And the sad part about it is it's still going on a regular basis, year round, or rather continually. It happens. It happens. We can see it in certain paintings, and we can also, recognize it and, certain holy days like Easter and Christmas. That we in general, when I say we in general, I'm talking about just Christianity in general, celebrate. But I want to focus on the goddess Isis. Now, Isis, of course, is the Egyptian goddess or whatnot, or the Egyptian version of Semiramis. She was considered, or she was worshipped as the ideal mother and wife, being a patron of magic and nature, and was a friend to slaves, sinners, artisans, the downtrodden, and listened to the prayers of the wealthy, maidens, aristocrats, and rulers. And she also married her brother, Osiris, whom, her brother Set killed, and apparently supposedly she resurrected Osiris after Set had killed him, or whatnot. The name of Isis means throne. The headdress that the pharaohs wear, or that the pharaohs used to wear, they would wear that to represent their power as god kings, being, the child of a goddess, claiming to be Isis's child, and that was constantly done every time a new pharaoh was chosen, or whatever the case may be. The worship of Isis, is spread through the Greco-Roman world, until it was like really suppressed, in the Christian era. The visual you have of Mary giving Jesus suck or whatnot, or the baby Jesus suckling on Mary, or even Mary holding Jesus alone, just like holding him. They're sitting there and he's sitting on the lap or whatnot. That all comes from the old, I guess you want to say, paintings or statues of Isis, and her son Horus. So and that's how that it's basically now it's Christian. It's just Christianized. It's been Christianized since the 5th century. And one thing we need to also see is that the symbols of Isis are the throne, the sun disk goes around your head like that, or a halo, and the cow's horns, and the sycamore tree. Like I said, in paintings, you can see certain things. You can see, okay, the sun disk or whatnot. We've seen that in plenty, either Catholic paintings with Michelangelo, paintings of Michelangelo, whatever the case may be. We've seen that, the little sun thing that we think is a light, but it's really the sun around the head of Jesus, or around the head of some saint, whether it's supposed to be depicted of a real apostle or something, or some saint that nobody really ever heard about, or probably even a real saint, but say you don't know anything about them. Save, the Catholics who, have all that data, and all that understanding on that behalf. Also, how much time I got left? 2 minutes. But also, we can also see this in, our holidays, and I mainly want to pick on Easter, because if we look at Easter is the worship. The original Easter worship was based upon worshiping the goddess Astarte, or Ishtar, where the word Easter comes from. She supposedly came down in the form of Venus. She came down from heaven, landed in the Euphrates River, floated downstream. The fish, pushed her on the bank, and the birds rested upon her, and she hatched out of the egg. And you know, it's supposedly supposed to represent also the Ark of Noah. So it's almost saying, okay, I'll give you some half truth to kind of show it. It's almost like these devils or whoever came up with it, you know, say, you know, I'm gonna do my best to link this to the truth, but it's really a lie, because I'm not, through this, you're not gonna really understand. You're gonna be deceived. So we really have to look at these things. What else we have? We have the, you know, and just talking about, you know, pagan god worshiping in Christianity, like the fish thing, the whole fish symbol, all that comes from the Philistine god Dagon, the little mitre or whatever that the Pope wears and the clergy wear. All that is derived from, you know, if you see the picture paintings of, you know, the Dagon, the fish god Dagon. Even the ritual reenactments of Christ's suffering every year in Rome and Madrid, they're taking the lashes or whatnot, and some of that is even to, you know, to the gushing out of real blood. That was done to Osiris by his worshippers, and to Moloch by his worshippers, and also done to the worshippers of fire in the Chaldean culture. So once again, you know, there's just a lot of, you know, just false worship in the vein of Christianity, and it's like these things relive because either people were cowardly, you know, concerning taking these things out, and obviously it was back then, around 360, during the time of Constantine. But that's the end of this segment. In the next segment, I'm going to focus on Tammuz, more so, you know, a false Christ, false Messiah worship. God bless you in the name of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.